Sources allow us to understand more about specific relatives, identify additional family members, and correct those errors that creep in. I have relatives in family tree for whom my cousins have added over 100 sources. Unfortunately, when I want to understand which date or location or name is correct, I give up before I can get through that many sources. Yes, it is very common that certain details will vary between sources within logically reasonable variations, but I want to know what the full name really was, when and where the events really occurred, and who the parents really were. Having too many sources in the system is almost like not having any sources because it becomes impossible to review and understand the evidence. Four tools tend to resolve these problems. The first tool is to reduce the number of sources that have to be reviewed to find the answers. I do this by splitting the list of sources in two parts, using a banner source entry to divide the list. In the upper portion, I keep one copy of each critical document. In the lower portion, I keep any duplicates of those critical documents, plus any documents in which this person is only listed as a parent. I also keep there anything with no vital information elements, and I make sure that those are in the lower section. Critical documents normally include available copies of each census that the individual appeared in, any birth, marriage, or death certificate, plus any appropriate data source such as a tombstone record, obituary, will, government registration such as the SSDI and the draft registration, or naturalization forms. I create my banner source by going to the top of the sources and click on Add a Source. This creates a source consisting of a title only. The banner that I want to use consists of the following title: series of about 8 or 12 stars, followed by duplicates, comma, vital records of others, comma, and records with no vital information. And I follow that up with a couple more stars. By checking Add Source to my source box at the bottom of the page, the banner source will be kept in your source box for reuse in the future. To connect this banner source to anyone else, just go into Person page, click first on Sources, then click on Add Source, and finally click on Add Attach from Source Box, which is the option at the bottom of the card. When the list of sources in Source Box comes up, just click on the word Attach on the right side across from this banner source label. The second tool that I use is to sort the sources on the top portion of the split list by date of the event. The sources can be moved up and down in order through a drag and drop process. I have found it's easier to organize by most recent events on top, from there on down in chronological order. At the top of the source list is a double knot icon labeled Options. In it are two options: a chronological order and a custom order. The split list with the drag and drop will only work with the custom order. Each source in the upper section should show a year associated with the event of the record. If none is present, look at the record to see what it should be and edit the record to add the year and then save the source. When dragging across a large collection of sources, drag the sources to just barely below the header to make the scroll work faster. Tool 3 is when duplicate records appear, we need to make sure that the copy that is kept in the upper section is the one that contains an original image of the document. Those original documents allowed for corrections of transcription errors and sometimes contain more information than what was available on the transcript. Tool 4 is if you have copies of the same document from both family search records and other sites, Keep the copy from Family Search Records in that upper section as long as it contains the original image. Consider detaching duplicate copies of the same record when they come from outside of Family Search Records, because the Family Search Records are more stable and secure for long-term storage. Consider detaching legacy NFS sources since they were created during the initial importation process and whatever they supposedly referenced did not come across, so typically they contain no original source data. Consider also detaching any tree source, for example, ancestry tree, because without the sources, they are just undocumented opinions. Once the sources are organized, it is very easy to see when a key document is missing, why a given name variation is used, and what the most reasonable date and location should be. At the same time, any suspicion that a mistake may have been made will stand out and easily be resolved through reviewing the evidence from the appropriate documents.